Hello, everyone. We are back with another round of 16 match here today, Spain versus Brazil. I'm the caster today here with my co-host, Nathaniel. How are you doing today?
Bush, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a big match coming here. I'm doing good, as good as you can do after getting destroyed by friends in the knockout rounds. But hey, we did what we could, and I'm happy with the match. regardless. That's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about Spain versus Brazil. I think both teams have had very different routes so far in the World Cup. Both very impressive routes as well, to say the least. So I'm very excited to see how this match is going to go forth. If we could get lineups on the screen for Spain first. Yeah, here we go. Akit, Cesar, Ivanchu, Jandro, Mortless, and it says Super on the display. However, it will be Sanvi playing for Super for this match. Cesar with the POV. Spain, very strong side. So far this World Cup, went 2 wins, 1 draw in their group. Got a surprising win over the favorites, over one of the 2 favorites, that being France, and then also picking up a win against Canada and a tie against Italy. So already going on a very dominating run so far. Would like to see how deep they go in the tournament, especially with the likes of how Mortless has been playing alongside everybody else just on the squad, being able to support each other really well. No Alik for Spain, however, shouldn't matter too much because they still have a really strong side for all the matches today.
Go over to the Brazil lineup here. Brazil being one of the only teams, one of the only playing teams to go through all the way to the bracket stages along with Austria. So this is a really, really well-talented team. I think they've played the most in this tournament so far. You play all the play-ins, all the group stages. You're in the bracket stages against Spain, and they've had a really, really exciting tournament run so far. We have Lara, the captain, EDU, Fa, Raised, MLM, KTBG. Fa has been having a breakout tournament this time in the MKWC. Been really good. I'm expecting a lot more from him here today. And I think they can give Spain a good challenge. They have a lot of experience, this team, and they have a good amount of talent.
Yeah, for sure. The chemistry knows no bounds, as a lot of these players have played with each other in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe back when Brazil was active and playing that game. A lot of these players also on the team Liberty, so know each other through there. But just like to say, Brazil have had a very interesting just run in this tournament. They were in playing group stage Z, where they went 1-1, beating Switzerland, losing to Hong Kong and Taiwan, and then that put them in group 1 of the group stage, where they managed to pull off some crazy results. All their matches ridiculously close. An upset versus Mexico by 40 points, and then only losing to Peru and South Korea. Both of those wars going tied into the final races, or at least it was either tied or one of the teams was up by 2. Both those wars ridiculously close, and they only lost by 12 to South Korea and by 6 to Peru. So the fact that they're even here is a massive testament to how strong of a side this Brazil team is. As you said, could potentially lead to an upset versus the Spain roster today, but I'm very excited to see how this match pans out.
Yeah, the winner of this match is going to play England, who just got out of a very stressful match against Australia. Probably the closest match people are saying in the group stages. Maybe Brazil will prove them wrong, as this is a decent matchup. I would say Brazil have a good chance. They would need They wouldn't need miracles, but they would like one, I would say. After the matches between Japan, Chile, Italy, South Korea also from the same group that Brazil qualified from. So maybe they'll put on a better showing for Group 1. South Korea just barely lost both of their matches, to be fair. So hopefully Brazil will go out proud, as the room is going to get started very soon.
Yeah, for sure. What is it? The thing with these top teams, at least from what I found, the second they are able to get momentum, they are able to fly with it. We saw it in England versus Australia. It took England a little bit of time to get online. However, come the third war, they were all guns blazing. Didn't make it easy for Australia. Same with France versus Caledombria. Whilst France were very dominant throughout the entire 2 wars, it only really took them the second half of the first war to really get things going and cause the Caledombria players, myself included, to try and keep up with them. So whether Spain is going to be able to do that early against this Brazil side is yet to be seen. Brazil is the red team for your first match. Blue team is Spain. As we go over to Sky High Sunday for the first race of the war, Caesar starting in first, Spain starting 1-4 for this, Brazil 2-3. If Caesar is able to pull Shrooms, get bumped out of the box, very unfortunate. Edu pulling Shrooms. This would have been very fortunate for Caesar if he was able to pull any form of Shrooms. However, with Brazil being the ones who mainly pull the Shrooms, they're going to try their best to cause a little bit of a breakaway.
Really good pull from Caesar. Shroom Ghost is kind of all you need. You want triple Shrooms maybe, but gets a huge back on the rail. That might have been a Brazil player. Gets really buffed back, and a Ghost this far back is not what you want to see unless he just outdrives everyone and everyone just dies in the front. But it's a really close pack. Nobody's gone away with it, as Caesar was in first earlier and he just didn't get Shrooms, so nobody has a breakaway. But Brazil have a lot of the top spots with Shrooms. Lara and EDU have Shrooms in top 2, so Spain is going to look to try and kill them all out. It's top 3 Brazil with Shrooms actually, so.
I mean, Brazil were also dominating the bottom 2. Very unfortunate bomb. Don't know where that came from, but allowing for the Brazil player in first, which we presume is Lara, to get a bit of a break. Brazil just looking to hold a lot of the top spots at the moment. Spain only in second at the moment. They're going to have to try and pull Shock to even see if they can try and get a comeback in this race, unless they are able just to pull the correct items to break into the tops, as Ivan Shu and Caesar both with Shrooms. Lara still in first. They're both going to be able to Shroom up and take over. The hammers from Caesar. Lara not able to play around that. Beautiful play from Caesar, as now they are in top 2 with a breakaway. Shock may not even be needed for Spain to get a good race here. However, we do see some of Brazil in the back. Oh, maybe there's a shot, and there is.
I think Spain dodged, as I see a Spain player does dodge up high, that BB Peach I'm pretty sure, and it's looking like top 3 Spain at the moment. A lot of Brazil are in the mid mix, a lot of red players in the mid there, and it's top 3 Spain, I think.
Good recovery from Spain, as it looked to be that Brazil was very dominant throughout those first 2 laps, showing they can hold their own against this side. But it is top 3, 7-9-12 for Spain. Brazil being able to hold a lot of the mid spots, which honestly, considering the shock, pretty good to only be down by -14. Brazil's now just got to do themselves the favor in making sure that Spain isn't able to break away with this, because whilst track picks have been very dominant in certain teams' favor, if they are to get them, that's not the full story, as what actually happens on the racetrack is a completely different thing from what happens track pick wise, as we do see Spain opt to go for Bowser's Castle and Brazil opt to go for Far Away Oasis.
Yeah, at the moment, Brazil was looking really good up there, top 3 with Shrooms. Owen took the Shroom cut, and then that bomb was like really unfortunate. Made Cesar and one of the other Spain players, I did not catch their name, break into 2-3 with Shrooms, and then that hammers onto Lara, who wasn't able to play around it with her horn. And it was a really good salvage from Spain. Not salvage, they got +14, so I'd say Brazil salvaged more than they did. But we go to BC, which is a really, really good pick for Spain.
Yeah, this opening is going to be very telling of how this race pans out. There's a lot of ways to take this opening turn skip. Spain are going to have to coordinate how they do so. Caesar opting to go bottom. His mates are probably opting to go the rail on top. Caesar just making the bottom cut flawlessly, as he's going to be able to get a little bit of a breakaway from the pack. However, it is both of our POVs in top 2 at the moment. Caesar with an incredible pull of red triple Shrooms in pocket is just going to be able to fly away in first. Edu having triple nanas in second, though, could potentially put a spanner in the works for some of the Spain players as they come up, as they do hold second place. However, Caesar able to take both cuts in first place and is now just going to be able to get a breakaway. Also has a Shroom for defense. That, or they opt to take another cut, meaning they will just have a huge break in first.
That Ice Flower could be the end of ED, because they're probably holding it for when he's on the rail here. You should watch out, try and get the cut as soon as he can. Cesar might fail it here. He gets it very cleanly. But the red coming out, it might get onto Caesar. It does, but it's on the booster panel, so it doesn't do much. Spams his red, but EDU gets redded for it, so top 2 is dead. Maybe. Hold on. Cliffhanger. There we go. All right.
I was gonna say the fact that the red spam was very good had to bank on the fact that Caesar wasn't pulling defense. Caesar did manage to block that though, as we do see Hammer Bros from the Kamek. However, it opts to be Thwomps, meaning that it's going to be harder for players on the right hand side to try and take cut in the likes of 3, 4, 5. As Spain does do so, they're now in top 2. A lot of Brazil dominating the back, which means if Shock was to come, it'd probably come now to target Shock all of Spain from not being able to make cut. However, Edu going. Imagine if Shock was spammed here.
Yeah.
That crazy work. Would have actually been mental with the timing of that pull, but no. Edu just doing his best now to just survive this top 3. Gets backed up the glider, and now Spain are just running away with this race.
It's top 4 Spain. Look at that. Look at that map. It's not looking too pretty right now. They just can't catch up back to them. And Laura and one of the Spain Brazil players are back there bottom 2, so it's not looking good for the back spots. If you let the Brazil players or the Spain players get bottom 2, could be a decent salvage. Blue coming in a little late from EDU, and it's not pretty. It is not pretty right now, as it looks like a bottom 2 for Brazil. Maybe they can let that swoop get last, but it's not too good for them at the start right now. If they did have that shock for EDU, that just changes the tide of the race. You target shock top 4 and you dodge in 5. But unfortunately,
yeah, Edu would have been able to hold onto first there if there was a shock. However, the fact that he was going for rail, could tell the Brazil didn't have it because Edu wouldn't have gone for rail. It would have, if he did go for rail and then just proceed to shock himself off, that would have been way slower than just sticking to the bottom path. However, the ghost pull would have been incredibly timed if they did pull shock. Alas, not in their favor, as Spain creates a wider margin now for Brazil to try and claw back from. Brazil, they've been in this situation before though in the World Cup, where they have been down. They've had some very rough opening races, but they have been able to claw back. However, we're talking about a team that's wasn't initially one of the favorites, but has definitely made themselves a part of the favorites conversation with the fact that they were able to beat France in their group. So Spain are just going to do their best to just just make leaps and bounds in trying to get more of a breakaway, as we do go to Peach Stadium. Big gambling track. That's all I can say about this. Just pull shrooms.
Yeah, watch out for the grass. Basically, you drive and then you win the Mogi, like Cesar here. EDU also pulls shrooms, and it looks like more Spain than Brazil in the top spots. A big pack split though, so at the moment EDU is going to try and pull for more shrooms. He does not get a double. Might try and get Cesar here. He DCs! Oh, that is tragic.
Yeah, very, very unfortunate for Edu, being the only person really in the top spot other than raised for Brazil, as we do see Spain work their way into a top 2 at the moment. A lot of Brazil in the bottom spots. So, however, none of Spain's top 2 does have any shrooms. However, it looks to be the pack is just way too split for Spain not having shrooms to even really matter, as Spain now shroom up. It's now a top 3 for them. Brazil are going to have to look for answers, most likely with the shock.
Yeah, at the moment it does not look pretty, because on Peach Stadium you can just go for the glider lap 3. It's lap 2, so you can go for an early shock, but if it's lap 3 and you have this big of a break, you can go glider and not lose too much. Just cover for that shock. At the moment there is a DC obviously, so there could be a bot shock, depending on how much the lobby bags. That bot could not be in the position to pull shock. The shock is used here. Sanvi does dodge in 3 in a ghost, so probably has a shroom. Fa dodges in a mega. This looks like a Brazil shock, possibly.
Yeah, definitely a shock uphold from Brazil. You would imagine that they're trying to get any sort of momentum in the front spots. They knew that target shocking after set would have just been waiting way too long, as nobody in Spain really had the items to take cut.
Oh.
Caesar with 4 reds, just going to throw them all at 4, try and break up the 2-3 that Brazil has just worked for. Being able to get 4 out, 4, getting into the Nana, 4 still holding on to third. It's Caesar, all of his teammates all around him able to use the horn because they were in Bill. 4 with the ice though. Caesar's not able to get the draft. Caesar's dropping all the way down to the bottom spots, and this is a decent salvage for Brazil. Oh, but the 9 bottom 2, unfortunately, what it is was the DC, but that's a huge That's a huge attempt at a salvage from Brazil. 2, 5, 6, 8, bottom 2. Unfortunately for them, but massive props because that was a scrappy ending.
Yeah, that they're not okay. Brazil are down 54. They're not playing bad though. They're in that sky high race. Shroom's top 3. That bomb was unfortunate. BC, it was BC to be fair. You just run away with the end. On this race, the DC was not really nice, but Spain, the way Spain just destroyed Brazil at the end. Cesar with the quadruple reds was kind of tragic for Fa. Fa being able to kind of unintentionally push him into the Nana really made it the saving grace, and then it snowballed into him getting iced. No pun intended, but yeah, pretty good salvage.
Waiting on the track selection now for both teams. Spain opting to go for Shaka Bazaar. Brazil just going back to Far Away Oasis. And we are going to be going Far Away Oasis. This track is really hard to hold first on unless you are able to pull triple shrooms early on. However, even still, the first 2 sets are covered within the 20-second rule of the 1.7 update, where the item distribution has changed a lot. So you are able to pull, everybody is able to pull the exact same items for the first 20 seconds, no matter what position they are in. Caesar not pulling anything, so he's just going to try and do his best to push up into the front, as whilst the track is good for early front runs, shock can also be really deadly just with the amount of shroom cuts there are on this track.
You want to triple shrooms and just try and shroom all these cuts, obviously, but afterwards you need to think about that last cut, because the amount of time you lose just going around is kind of ridiculous. If he does pull shrooms here, it's really good. He gets greened off anyways, it doesn't matter, and he pulled terrible items. So right now it's still top 4 Spain. Amazing blooper pull from Lara, already activate, but she gets back redded, and it's now top 3 Spain. Brazil are going to try and break these top spots though.
It's all going to depend on what Lara pulls here. The Nana's green isn't offensive enough to really do anything with. Throws up all the Nanas, obviously not going to connect onto the rail. Lara's just really got to hope for some shroom pulls to maybe try and break into the top 3. Don't know whether there's been another DC from Brazil, from the fact that there are 3 players all the way in the back. Lara trying to use the feather to take the Kart. Unfortunate bumps mean that she is going to end up a little bit behind at the moment. And the shock does come in. Lara falling off the track. It was a Brazil shock, though, as Caesar was able to dodge in a Mega. Brazil bottom 2. But the shock's not really going to do much for Brazil, as Spain is still top 3.
I'm wondering if that was a bot shock, because that was really interesting, as, oh my god, Lara gets absolutely smashed by those triple nanas. This golden should help her. If she does not get shrooms here, her race is literally over. This is how devastating this last Calfarios is. If she doesn't get any, she gets triple reds. It could help her, but if Handro, he has a Rang. She does steal a spot at the very end, but Akadix just gets it back right away, and it's a really bad race for Brazil. I have to wonder if that was a DC or not, because it did not look too pretty for them. It is baby.
Yeah, it was a DC.
Yes.
Unfortunate bottom 3 for Brazil. Spain just running away with it.
Yeah, I would assume that was a bot shock. It did not look very practical. In terms of, I think it shocked all of Spain into the set on lap 2 or lap 3, like second set. So that was a really unfortunate shock for Brazil, but really good one for Spain. They just continued running with it.
Yeah, Edu now back in the room. Just unfortunate that they have had issues with their Wi-Fi at the moment, not being able to stay in room. Don't know how much that's going to affect Brazil's mental, to be completely honest, for doing so well in a couple of the races, just to have DCs turn the tide for Spain, allowing them to get more top spots, and Brazil pretty much having confirmed last for the past 2 of these 3 races, Brazil's going to need some sort of mental reset. Boost Cinema, though, is not the track that they want to see. Very big drafter at the beginning. If you're able to pull the likes of triple shroom, single shroom, ghost, you are able to potentially make a breakaway, all depending on what you pull at the second set. However, Brazil's going to need some miracle work after this first GP, as they've got to find a lot of answers in quite a short space of time. Otherwise, Spain is just going to be able to run away with this match 1.
Up down 63, only 1 GP in. It's not impossible for Brazil. 2 DCs in a row, as you said. Very unfortunate, but on Boost Cinema, it's not really a technical track. I don't even have to sugarcoat that, obviously, but Lara getting hit with a really good pull, having a ghost in 8th. They just need to keep this front presence going and hopefully not be too far back to make a comeback. If they do pull a shock, it is very good on this track, since a bill here is the best item in the game on this track, obviously. Just being able to take this entire last turn. But that back rank is deadly, and Lara will have to come up now, as it's top 4, I think, Spain. They're just running away with it, but it's Boost Cinema, so you can't really get that much of a big breakaway unless you kill everyone.
Yeah, Brazil are just going to have to do their best with the items that they pull to try and push into the top spots. Looks to be a lot of Spain in the fronts at the moment. One of them is slowing down. Has to be done to make sure that the shock odds are even. If Spain were just to give Brazil the full odds for shock, this race could be a completely different story, assuming the shock is pulled. However, Spain just doing really well to claw their way up into the front spots. Caesar now with triple greens coming out on his mate. Unfortunate, as this top spots were breaking, kind of reclaimed now, as Caesar manages to pull out the Brazil player ahead of him. But it's 1-3 still for Spain, missing the slow on there, as it's now Spain top 2. If shock was to come, probably around now, but it doesn't seem to be in play.
I'm really surprised that green hit fall. That's really unfortunate for him. A bomb snipe from Cesar, a beautiful one at that, and a drive-by horn from Sanvi, I think that was. And it's looking like a decent salvage from, I think that was a Spain shock. Someone dodged very high up, but Lara also dodged high up with a mega in pocket. She's only gonna get 4th for it. I think that was, though, Spain's shock.
It was a top 3-5 for Brazil there at the end of the race. There's only so much Brazil can really do if Spain is pulling all the shocks. Yeah, top 3, 5, 6, 9. The top 6 overall in Individs as well, because Edu has 15 points overall at this point in the war. Spain have just proven to be a dominant force, and Brazil is just really, really struggling at the moment to make any sort of break-in into this match. They're gonna need answers quickly, and otherwise, if Spain keep this momentum up, we could see this war wrapped up very, very early.
Yeah, Brazil don't want to see that happen, though. They're down 100. It's not very pretty. They've not reached the halfway point yet. You know, they want a good race to break this momentum that they're up against, obviously, because Spain have had good race after good race. Cesar has been playing really well with the attack items, like we saw in Peach Stadium and that bomb on Boost Cinema, as we see Cuba True Beach coming out from Spain. They don't need big races. You're up 100 within 5, so just need the safe ones, close this one out. You don't need to win by 200. So,
I mean, optimally, they will try and win by a high margin, though, just to prove that they are one of the threats for a reason. Brazil finally being able to get a track pick in Cheap Falls. All 6 of their players in the room. You'd like that on this track, just because there is not only a lot of driving tech to be done, the likes of the opening Nisk, the Tarzan shortcut, the ending Nisk, but also shocks can be very, very volatile on this track, as all players charge up for this first set to see if any of them can pull shrooms. Nobody really does from our POVs. However, we do see Spain, at least with a couple people breaking into the top spots, a lot of Brazil in the back. However, that's fine for the likes of this track. It's just, you've got to gamble on being able to pull the shock, as Spain could develop a breakaway just from running.
Yeah, right now it's top 2, 4, 5 from Spain. This track used to be a bagger before everyone knew what a Tarzan was, but now that it's not a bagger, it's a really strong runner, and everyone's look at them. They're just gone top 2. No amount of reds, unless you have quadruple reds like Cesar in each stadium, can break this top 2. If you do have a golden, it is really strong on this track, so that's what Brazil are gonna look for. But as I speak, hello, Laura has a golden in 6th. Is unfortunately gonna miss the Tarzan, but this golden will help her out.
It's going to be interesting to see where she opts to use this, opting to do a variant that takes her onto the Tarzan path, but allows her to get a decent line into the cut, meaning she is able to burn the golden, as it currently is Spain top 3, Brazil 4, 5, 6. Brazil are in bottom 2 though, so you'd like to think that they do potentially have shock, as Spain is burning a lot of their dodges just to catch up now. If Brazil's able to find a moment where Spain is lacking and are able to crumble because of shock, this could be huge for them, but this is obviously assuming that they have it.
Yeah, and Cesar having a golden in 4th basically just confirms he gets at least top 3, maybe in 1st with this. This is a huge pull for him. Top 2 are gone. AKX gets Tarzan, and no shock, no win right now for Brazil, as it looks like a confirmed top 3 at least for Spain, and it might be wraps. It's top 4 at least, maybe top 5.
Let's see this ending, as it looks to be top 4, 6, 9 for Spain. Brazil, they're just not able to do anything. Spain, they're holding down the tops, they're doing well with it, and even when Brazil does have the chance to go up, Spain is either aggressive with their items and pull the right things to kill the Brazil fronts, or they pull shock and are able just to swing the race in their favor. As much as we're only halfway through the war right now, it's really hard to say that Brazil even come back into this. They need a lot of miracles to go their way with how Spain is playing at the moment. So Brazil just might be seeing to just play this war out, let it happen, and then mentally reset for the second match. Of course, things aren't impossible, though, for Brazil in the fact that they can come back. However, it's going to be ridiculously difficult as we do go to Koopa Troopa Beach. Spain pick for them in top 4. Interesting use of this track.
Koopa Troopa Beach. So this is definitely the baby park. You can never fridge on maybe park, but maybe Brazil proved that wrong. Honestly, if I was Brazil, I'd just play for some good results to chain into match 2. So just give yourself, the belief that, okay, we didn't have the best performance match 1, but we know we can perform well, so let's get some good races so we can bring that into match 2 as we go on to Koopa Troopa Beach. Maybe they'll get a good race here, and then we'll pick it in match 2.
It's interesting to see the fact that the pack is so tight at the moment. Pretty much first set of lap 2, you can roll that within the first 20 seconds just with how short the track is. Cesar is doing his best to hold down the front line for Sanvi as they are in top 2. MLM in 3rd with a Shroom, going to be able to Shroom up and take one of the cuts. However, Cesar with triple red's going to put a fault in the plans. Red skipping for his teammate though, but it doesn't look to matter too much as the 3rd red is finally able to connect as Spain top 2 for at least once again. Cesar now probably just going to opt to bag and try and pull a dodge.
Yeah, right now this is about the race where you just want to spam your stuff, just get back up right now, he's very far back. This golden will help him a lot, and if he's able to chain this build into the next set, he's looking like, he's going to be in a very good position for the rest of the race. If Laura does not have shock in last, that is, misses the chain there just about, as we saw there, Laura's going to try and come back, pulls the build. If she gets it out in time, she could save a spot or 2. She does. It's top 3 Spain, though. I think it's not looking too good for them. Koopa Troopa Beach is not to their lucky moment, as it is top 4, 7, 10 for Spain. It's not looking too pretty for Brazil. They need to get something going to give them some belief for match 2.
Spain have just been chaining top 4 after top 3 after top 4 this entire match. They are not letting Brazil get any sort of momentum in this match. We've got 5 races left. I don't know how much the differential is at the moment, but Spain could close this match out this next race if they're able to go in with a differential of 160 plus by race 9. Brazil will be able to do nothing about it, as top 6 is a 40-point differential for 4 teams if you are able to get top 6. However, that's what Brazil is realistically going to need at this moment, as Spain lead by at least 160-ish points.
Yeah, if Brazil don't get a gaining race, this is basically Spain could end the war right here, basically, unless Brazil get a more than +8, then they can still kind of survive theoretically. But Spain are going to look to close this out. Brazil will look to hopefully learn something from this and bring it to match 2, as Laura does get pushed into the lava, very unfortunate, but she can just bag for this race, as it is not hard to come back on this track with the amount of cuts you can do in the lava. But it is a very strong runner as well. You do not want to see a cheap balls rerun off just a huge break in top 2.
I mean, it's going to be a case of seeing who pulls the shrooms and who is able to run up with them, as we do see both Caesar in 3rd with them at the moment. MLM with the triple nanas, the lag, unable to, he's able to do something, actually trailing off both Sanvi and Caesar, meaning Caesar is not able to do anything with these shrooms, opting to drive around, play a little bit slow, as Brazil doing what they've done on Sky High Sunday at the very beginning of the war, able to get some front presence. However, it is a lot of Spain behind them. Lara with a bill in 9th place, either going to try and predict the shock, or if Brazil do pull the shock, coordinated to benefit it in her favor, as first is getting blued out for Brazil. Awful place to get blued. Getting blued over the glider means that you have to not only sit and watch yourself get blued into the lava, you also have to watch yourself drown in the lava as well, which means that is a huge time loss for the player in first. Lara unfortunately failing the cut, using the bill and dodging. You have to imagine that's some sort of Brazil shock just to keep them in the front spots. However, it's not going to do much because a lot of Spain dodging with her. However, it does seem to be a Brazil mid spot after first at the moment, so maybe the potential to salvage something here.
Yeah, Caesar's gonna probably trap the cut here unless his teammate also goes for it in 2. I think she obviously used it, and Caesar just covered because she was using it, and they both dodged. They both died the same net afterwards, and it's looking a little more tight in the pack. Everyone has shrooms. Lara missing the leg, that's really bad. But she could pass Caesar at the end. Sambi with the hammers that gets Lara out. I don't think she loses any spots for it, though. It's top 2 Spain. Brazil almost got a bone throw to them, but Cesar did the same thing Lara did. Run up a bill, use it, dodge shock. And he just did it a little bit better than she did. And top 2 for Spain.
Yeah, that's this war pretty much closed out at the moment. They're still top 6 in divs overall. There is a 12-point difference between Vaultless and Lara with the differential. Even with the DC points from Brazil, it's pretty much impossible for them to come back now. So
yes,
Brazil's going to have to try and do their best just to recuperate, make sure that their mental doesn't sink any further going into the second match, because as much as this first match has been frustrating, there has been glimpses of moments where they are able to catch Spain lacking. It's just a case of them needing to do that more for the upcoming War 2, as Brazil opting to go Dandelion Depths from the looks of it, as Spain kind of just goes track free just to see what they're able to do, anything on, try and find, see what works, what doesn't going into match 2 to give them better intel on what they can pick and know where Brazil's weaknesses lie.
Yeah, I was wondering what Brazil are thinking going into match 2, because they know that they've lost this one, so they're kind of playing for practice in a sense for match 2. And Nathan, I know you played against France 1 match, 2 match. how did you think of going into match 2 knowing you're playing against a team that would probably most likely beat you?
I mean, we knew that it was going to be a very hard task in trying to beat France in the first place. I think the thing that we did back when we played France earlier today, we just kept spirits high. We knew that there was zero pressure on us as a team to even really perform. So the fact that we were able to do stuff like the first 6 races versus France, we were able to at least keep it close, even though France were able to break away. We did fine. You've got to just look for the good moments of this first war that Brazil have able to had in those moments where they are able to break into the fronts and run away, and some of the team play that they have done just to keep spirits high and just remember that every war is one race at a time. You've got to just progressively play through it slowly and steadily, and maybe, just maybe, you're able to pull some form of upset, which hopefully we can see Brazil do in the next match. However, as we are on Shy Guy Bazaar, Brazil currently 3-4. Looks to be Spain top 2. No, they're 2-3 at the moment.
Lara getting the ice off on Mortless, I think, just about misses it, and it's top 2, bottom 2 for Brazil, so they're holding all the shock odds. They have the shock, they use it. I think first was target shocked. I'm not sure, though. I could not tell. Cesar dodges in a bill and has a gold, and he's going to be gone in 1. This is definitely a near guaranteed win, bar a blue being pulled. I see a lot of red behind him, actually, so this could be really good for Brazil.
Well, it's something they're going to need. If they are able to at least get a good race here, it helps them bring the mood up a little bit. Even if it's everything after first, it's still some sort of positive, as they do go into the final straights. Lara having to spam all the reds to try and get that Spain player, which they do. However, they pull shrooms of their own in pocket. Looks that Brazil was able to salvage something right at the end, though. As Brazil 1-5, but unfortunately 8-9 bottom 2. However, the 1-5 can definitely help lift the spirits and show that they are able to do stuff, just as long as more of them are able to be in the front. The second war could be swung around to Brazil's favor if they play their cards right.
For sure. I was thinking maybe Brazil could go into match 2 just busting out the DK Spaceport and Moon Meadows picks, but that's just me, honestly. Shy Guy Bazaar, I would not contest a team like Spain or Brazil, Spain or France, sorry. But that would be my way of thinking about it. But right now, Brazil are just trying to get some good races. Hopefully, their first gaining race of the war. That wasn't a gaining race, but I think that was just a slight loss. 1-5 is not bad by itself. But ripping out the dandelion depths again. Hopefully, getting their first gaining race just to carry it into match 2. They need to prove they can win races at least. So.
I mean, they've proven they can get themselves in good positions, but as you said, they need to prove themselves also that they can get winning races. As we do go to the dandelion depths here, 3 races left in this war. Spain are just going to do their best to just try and break open this differential as much as possible. Make sure that Brazil aren't able to recover mentally going into the next war. However, Dandelion, it's a very interesting pick from Brazil. I don't know whether Brazil are trying to burn this track just to try and get some practice over it, or whether they're trying to use this as a swing around of momentum to try and get some winning races. Either way, Lara unfortunately getting trailed out by their teammate, but it is still Brazil top 2 at the moment. However, spots are definitely going to shake up depending on who is able to take this ending cut on the lap, as it is very, very strong. And usually dictates a lot of races if there are no breakaways in the front. However, because the ending cut is so strong, it means the shock is very strong as well, and being able to target shock shrooms, bills, goldens, mega mushrooms out of the opposing team, making sure they can't take it in crucial moments of the race.
Yeah, this track having that ending shroom cut, similar to Faraway, but way bigger than Faraway races. Zombie coming up in a bill and Lara opting to golden as 1 is gone, but also alone, which is really unfortunate for them. Hopefully being able to keep it. If they do have a shroom, they're going to stay gone, but it's a very tight pack behind first, at least. So Brazil look good. I do see shrooms for Lara and the baby Daisy. I did not catch their name. Mortlas, and oh no, there's gonna be chain chomps. Watch out right ahead here if you're doing the charge jump. There could be some chain chomps falling down, but it doesn't look like, oh, it is gonna be a problem. As
Not really.
No.
Lara manages as well.
But it's, oh,
That is tough though. That's really, really tough.
I think it's still good for Brazil in the tops. I think they're 1-4-5 at least, so it's not looking too bad.
I mean, it's all going to come down to what really happens at the end, whether shock is used or not. Spain's still slowing down, meaning that it's probably not in play on their end. Lara, with the items that she has at the moment, is kind of just praying for no shock. She's able to get the back red off of Lara as she sits in last at the moment, as the tops have just changed completely. It's now all of Spain up there. Anything that Brazil just had earlier on has been destroyed. The Bill extending Lara past the cut to where she's not able to take it optimally. Hammers on the line. Brazil able to dodge an Omega on the line. However, it's still at least a top 2, maybe even a top 3 for Spain.
You see, Cesar actually getting 4 spots from that shock from 10th. So that was really good for Spain. I think that was EDU gone in first, which was really unfortunate that he lost that. I'm assuming it was either the chain chomps because they spawned wide, or just the shroomers because that cut is just so big you can't avoid that. Going into the last 2 races, down about, I would say that's 200. Not looking too amazing for Brazil, but they need to just conjure up something here to give them some hope for the next match. Dandelion almost worked. They looked like they were in a good position. Lara had the shrooms, but it just was not working out very well for them, as that shock was used by the Anabit in cut. So that was Spain's shock. No, wait, that was Brazil's shock, actually. I just noticed. Yes, Brazil just spam shocked in the cut.
I mean, did Spain a lot of good, but realistically, there's not much you can do when a shock is pulled that late. When you do have it behind shrooms, you kind of do have to prioritize making sure you can get through cut. But luckily, Brazil just didn't have any dodges either, so that shock was kind of used as a Hail Mary to see if they could gain anything. Unfortunately, not. One of them able to gain 1 spot, but ended up working more in Spain's favor, as we do go to Rainbow Road, longest track in the game, 4 minutes, 5 minutes online with all the item play. This, I don't know which team picked it, but it's going to be, it'd be an interesting pick to see if Brazil did pick this, because if I was in Brazil's shoes at the moment, if this was me, I would just wanting to get this war over, done with ASAP, because you don't have a lot of time in between matches to just go out, get a good mental refresh, move on, and then come back to the game. Rainbow Road not going to help with the fact that it's going to cut down on that time. So will be interesting regardless to see how this race pans out. A lot of shock opportunities, a lot of shortcut opportunities as well. Cesar with the Ghost in third, his mate ahead of him in second. With how aggressive he was being with the Nanas, you could assume that Brazil is in first, and I believe they are. Brazil being, I think, the only baby blooper in the lobby. They opt not to go for the turn skip and just let Spain have a free top 2.
Yeah, top 2 for Spain. If Cesar does use this Ghost, he will be getting a shroom, since AKX does have a horn out, so you will not be stealing that. Obviously, you can't Ghost a horn. So if he does opt to use this very soon, this will be really good position for Spain, as he'll be able to take cuts and also have a shroom in first, which would be really, really good for him.
Ops will probably just use this though. Yeah, just try and develop a big enough breakaway. Not too worried about the blue, because there is space now between him and second place. Pulls the horn anyways for security. Beautiful pull for him. He's just going to hold on to this for as long as humanly possible to try and break away, but also ensure that even if Blue Shell does come, it is no worries whether it's thrown from either a Spain player or a Brazil player. He is covered, as he has a good breakaway in first. A lot of the players in the back at the moment just trying to see whether or not they can pull shock. Spain just kind of wanting to see if they can pull shock to manage not getting target shocked, or not having the element of surprise of trying to predict shock from Brazil. Brazil obviously needing the shock to try and come back and get any sort of salvage that they can. But Lara just seems to aggressively be pushing up with this Mega and Golden. Her teammates, you'd assume, to be behind her. So all eyes on Brazil to see whether or not they pull shock.
Yeah, a lot of blue up there in the front if you look at the mini-map right there. And she has a very good pull. Spain has shock. They probably use it very soon since they're all in glider. MLM is in star, so they're probably covering for it right now. Lara will be using this in glider very, very soon. Right about now. Salvi is right behind her in a bill, I would assume. Yep. And a shock would be amazing. It would be brilliant even, since I don't think either EDU or Fa have had what's it called? Shrooms for the gliders. They're just losing a lot of time. Lara gets triple green back. She has to drop to get some items, and they're very far back. They're too far gone in the front. You need a shock and about 3 bills dodging right now to catch back up.
I mean, the Star might be able to salvage something if there is shock. However, with this update 1.7, it does feel like the shock has just become more and more rare as Nintendo have just pushed updates with this game. So it wouldn't surprise me if this race does end up shockless. You do see Lara in star at the moment. If there was any chance for them to use shock, it would have been to try and target shock as many of the Spain players who go and take the pole Nisk. However, this is looking to either be shockless or a shock spammed at the last second, as the Spain players who are in the bottoms are now pushing up bottom 3 for Brazil. Very strong front run for Brazil. Don't know what Caesar's doing. Slowing down on glider. Probably waiting for blue, assuming one of his teammates had it with how far gone he was in first. Just ensuring that that doesn't target onto his teammate, as that is top 3 raised, holding down the front line for Brazil, as it is 4 bottom 5 for them. They have 1 race left to try and get even something, just anything at this race to show that they will have some form of momentum as to going into match 2. But Brazil really just need this match to be over to try and get any sort of reset.
Brazil, if you're listening to this right now, you gotta go DK Spaceport. All right, you gotta go for those tracks. I want to see it. I want to see you win like that. That's what you need right now. Spain is just way stronger than Brazil, but Brazil need like very strong plays, like absolute like risk-taking plays. Like if you fail that play, you lose the race. Like you get bottom 6, but if you succeed, you get like a plus 30. That's the kind of play I want to see from Brazil.
They're not going to be able to perform said play now, with the fact that this war is pretty much being done. Spain taking their victory lap on Toad's Factory. Toad's Factory, another one where it favors the drafters. It favors the people who are able to push up early with the likes of Shrooms, that Spain have been doing really, really well thus far this war. Brazil are just going to have to try and do their best to get any sort of result from this race, as it was their pick. Going to try and use it to reset the momentum. They are starting bottom 5, which means they do have slightly better odds for the Shrooms, and also have way better chances to catch up with each other on drafts. However, with the 1.7 update, we also see Spain just capitalizing on pulling the likes of triple greens for Cesar, and he's able to kill Newt, as an unfortunate team kill comes in, but it still looks to be a lot of Spain in the front spots. Lara doing her best to push up with triple Shrooms and take the cuts, but she does get hit out. Only 1 Brazil player in the front spots at the moment. Cesar with triple reds. They're already dead, Nintendo. Let's Spain
he does get blued for his troubles, though. That's really
okay,
good.
There we go. Justice is served. Thank God.
Cesar getting triple reds again on fall. Similar to Peach Stadium. It's about like PTSD flashbacks for fall probably, but at the moment it's Brazil bottom 2. Yeah, I'm assuming Cesar's not going to give them bottom 2 boxes, but he's going to contest with them. Brazil, you see a lot of red in the tunnel at the moment. He's going to take this bullet extension, and Lara might have it just on the proxy that she's not holding anything. I do see a lot of drops though. as I am lying apparently, and she is in a build. She does not have shock. Nobody has it, but it's a lot of Brazil tops.
Yeah, Brazil are in the top, but they are unfortunately also in the bottoms as well. It's going to just be a case of Brazil pushing up now, kind of abandoning the idea of shock and just seeing what they can get, as we do see Spain in that mid pack. Obviously, Brazil top two, however, that has never been a threat for Spain, as Spain just push up. Brazil now bottom three. Once again,
Ooh,
Lara
oh.
squishing. It's only the one Brazil player up there. They're going to need a miracle spam shot for Lara from Dodge to try and get anything. But no, nothing has really gone their way this war. Unfortunate for Brazil, as that is another what we presume to be top three for Spain. Top 4, 7, 8 for Spain. Top 6 in Indivs overall. Every player
Oh my
break
word.
100 plus from the Spain side. Absolute scenes.
There was a
war.
DC apparently last race on Rainbow Road. I just noticed that. But yeah. What do I even say at this point? Like, they're all just really, really good. Nobody was an outstanding player. They were all scored 100. Nobody's a standout player. You can just say the Spain side is like the best side in the tournament. You could argue they beat France, or they tied with Italy to beat France, top their group. I think they were second seed out of the group stages because the USA won all their matches. Spain won both and then tied. But yeah, that was you would argue a dominant performance from Spain.
Yeah, not many wars that you see just happen like that. It shows the difference in the sides. It also just shows the strength of the top sides in this tournament. Spain with an absolutely dominating 200 plus point win. Brazil's going to need to find a lot of answers between now and when the next match starts. It's not to say it's impossible, though. However, you can only imagine being absolutely demoralized from Brazil. They've just got to do their best now in the time between now and the next match starting to just reset their mental, to look at what they did wrong in this first match and see if there's anything that they can learn to go into the next match.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and at the moment, Germany and Ireland are about to start. They were supposed to start last hour, same time as this matchup was starting, but they did reschedule it to an hour after. Tune into that match on Twitch MK Central, and do not go anywhere. We have a match right after this. We'll be taking a break. See you soon.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Mario Kart Central. Prime time between Spain and Brazil in the World Cup for Mario Kart World. We've just finished match 1. Teams are getting ready to join for match 2, and it looks to be at least some sort of interesting match to go on. If you missed it last hour, Spain, dominant performance from them, just shut out the likes of Brazil very, very easily. Brazil was not able to get any answers. However, this is a new hour. This is a new war. If Brazil have prepped mentally, have been able to look back on the war they just played, they're going to be able to see where the mistakes were made and whether they're able to rectify anything going into this match against Spain to try and bring something back, as it is Brazil who host the match this time. Brazil will be starting in 1st and 4th, Spain starting in 2nd and 3rd. But I don't know whether there was any lineup changes. I believe lineups to be roughly the exact same. If we are able to look at the Spain lineup going in, pretty similar to what it was last time. Actex, Cesar, Ivanchu, Handro, Sanvi, and Super for this match. Cesar, your POV and captain. Very similar side to what we saw before. One change, I believe, Super actually playing this match, if I'm remembering correctly, wasn't in the first match. However, they just went on an absolute madness versus Brazil. So even with the 1 sub rotation, it's not going to mean too much in that their side is any weaker or any stronger. This side has been playing phenomenally this entire World Cup, as we spoke about earlier, getting the win against one of the favorites, France, beating Canada, tying against Italy. They've had a very strong run so far. The Brazil lineup, I believe, to be the exact same from how it was. Lara, their captain, Edu, their POV. We might also be using Lara as POV as well, as we were using her POV towards the back end of the war. We have 4. We have raised, we have MLM, and we have Rick in instead of KTBG. We were informed just midway through, before the match had even started, the previous hour, that KTBG was fully dependent on whether or not he'd be home in time or not to play the match. Unfortunately, not able to do so. Rick filling in his shoes, doing his absolute best to try and slow down the Titans that are Spain. It'll be another tough war for Brazil, as you can imagine, with how things went last hour. However, we'll be fine. We'll see what happens. This war, I think this is going to be another war that's very indicative about the start of the war as to whether Spain is just able to go in and cause a breakaway, or whether Brazil is actually able to cause any sort of upset and keep things close this time around. The match is about to start. Manny, do you have any thoughts before we go underway in this match?
I'm out of breath at the moment, but
less said on that, the better.
Yeah. Brazil probably are at the moment. They probably had a long talk in their VC, I would assume, about how to get the momentum back, because the last war did not end well with Toys Factory. But they just need to dwindle down the big races for Spain. Even if they get winning races, they need Spain to get like +2s, +10s instead of like +30s. So yeah.
War is now starting. Brazil looking to go and open with Rainbow Road this time around. Maybe they saw some potential in the last war in it being picked. However, it looks like we are going to the Spain pick of Mario Bros. Circuit. Pretty good for the 2 or 3 spots. Brazil are the blue team this time around. Spain are the red team. Mario Bros. Circuit, interesting track for the spots. Brazil do have 4, however, 2, 3 from Spain will be able to try and go for this opening disc. Lara opting to open the tires to see if any of her Brazilian teammates are able to capitalize, but she opts to just go for the boxes after failing to get any good momentum onto the rail. However, is to be expected because you just slam into the tires to see if you can help your mates get any sort of front run, which doesn't look to be the case at the moment. Whilst Brazil do hold what looks to be a lot of the mid spots, Lara's currently just sitting in 11th, griefing the Spain player in the back as she does pull Bill Golden. Probably going to now try and catch up as the front spots do look very mixed at the moment.
Yeah, Brazil are doing a really good job. That dry bones, I think that was Fa. Going into the boxes, it seems. Says they're going to be on the rail. Nana's at 4th. His team's behind him, so he's not going to drop it. He does get gusted anyways. Triple greens coming out from Super. He dies to the same greens. Really chaotic right now from Spain's side. Brazil doing good and holding more of the front presence. Jumps over the golden shell. I'm not sure if that was intentional, but it did work out as this is a really good pull for Cesar. He's going to have triple shrooms in 3rd. And it's top 3 Spain all of a sudden. And it is a decent pack at the moment.
Yeah, Spain just finding their way into this pack once again, just able to break away. Cesar being able to open the cuts for his teammates. However, his teammates opt to go around. I respect the decision because triple nanas is a lot to deal with, even if it is someone from your own team. They are getting a breakaway at the moment. Brazil looking to capitalize on maybe getting a shock as Spain passed the set top 3. However, no way to be found as we do see Lara and Mega in 9th. Her teammates coming up in Bill. It looks to at least be top 2, maybe even top 3 lock for Spain as once again, Spain starting out on the correct foot. Late shock. Lara getting the last from that. Yeah, I think that was the last minute Spain shock.
It's not the greatest for Brazil here. I think they still got 4-5-6 on lock. No, it's only 4-6. Top 3, 5-7 from Spain. Very bad race for Brazil, but honestly, they didn't play that too badly. They had a lot of the front presence and then just dwindled down on lap 2. It was really unfortunate.
Yes, Spain have just been proving that they are able to do that, whilst Brazil is doing their best to hold on to anything that they are able to get. At the moment, Brazil just struggling to find any sort of front presence this war and keep any sort of front presence this war.
Yeah, Brazil were at the start of lap 2. I think they were in the same position as Spain on the start of lap 3, but Spain just came up with the triple greens and just killed, I think, 2 of their members. And then first was able to get taken out by Spain, and they were top 3. All of a sudden, they were just gone. Cesar with triple shrooms, opening the cut for his teammates. And at the moment, it's not looking too great, but it's only race 1. What was that? 24-point lead for Spain. They go into Cheap Falls, which didn't work out too well for Brazil, as this is their track pick. But if they're confident if they're picking this again, and I trust them. So let's see how they do.
Cheap Falls coming out once again, as you said, Brazil track pick. They weren't able to really capitalize on this last time. Whether they're able to capitalize on it this time, and whether they're able to get any momentum on it, will be a different story. However, as we did see in the Mario Bros. Circuit race, as we did see in a lot of the previous war between these two teams, if Brazil was able to get any sort of front presence, Spain was just able to knock it down and turn the race in their favor. So it's going to be interesting to see how this race plays out. Lara executing the Tarzan beautifully, however, is in 7th place itemless, opting to go for the Nisk, not banking on the shroom pull. Glad that she didn't because she pulled a boomerang. But it doesn't look to be anything good for Brazil at the moment, as it is top 4 for Spain, as Sanvi does shroom up, does get clipped by the ring that Lara threw. However, it's not going to matter too much. Even with these greens going up, Spain are just going to be able to develop a strong enough breakaway, as Lara does go wide for 4 to try and read out one of the Spain members. However, it proves not to do too much, as Spain is now just getting another breakaway that we've seen them get pretty much this entire series. Top 3 break for them.
Yeah, they don't want this to be a huge race for Spain again. It's repeating all over again. Top 2 are gone, but they're 3-4 at least. If there's a shock out, they can turn further shock in. That builds for Brazil is really good, but it's not. Yeah, Cesar with the Mega, he's just gonna try and kill that Burger Toad. He fails. Where is he? Oh, he is flying through the racetrack. Laura cannot predict that, but it's not looking too good for Brazil.
Cesar with the rank in 4th, gonna try and do their best to kill out Rick, who is in 3rd at the moment. Nana on the Tarzan Kart, however, not able to mess up Cesar and his line, as he was able to take it tight. Did end up stumbling with Rick, though, as Cesar now takes over 3rd. All of Brazil behind him have to opt to go for the ending cut. Does pull this room, so even on landing is able to get a breakaway, and the blue shell doesn't manage to do anything, as that is top 3 confirmed for Spain. Top 3, 5, 8, 9. I think history. I think the last war, if anything is indicative of the last war and what went down then, we're probably going to see a repeat of it now, where Spain are just able to hold onto the fronts, do what they can, and then salvage whatever they need in the mid spots, as they go up by 50 points already. And we're not even through the first GP. We're only 2 races in.
No, don't worry. I'm expecting DK Spaceport any second now. And a fridge coming soon.
You've been banking on this DK Spaceport all cast, man. What is it about that track? Is there some secret sauce that you know about that track that we
don't? The secret sauce
don't?
is that there isn't any sauce.
It's just a dry meal. Okay.
Yes, it is a dry meal. You do not need to do much to win on DK Spaceport. It wins itself, especially if you are in Brazil's position, because you need a race that can turn the tide here. Any lucky race, honestly, but they go for Dandelion, which they did do well on last time, if they do get it, which they do, so hopefully something will come of it. Shaga Bazaar almost got repicked there, so maybe that could have been something. But yeah, they need a big race. I would like a plus 30, get them back in within a 20-point range kind of race. If Spain get one more good race, it's gonna build. It's gonna build.
Yeah, for sure. Dandelion Depths. Interesting to how this track plays out. There's a lot of opportunities to pull shrooms at the very beginning. However, the big cuts come at the very end. You would like to try and hold onto your shrooms for that. However, sometimes it is just better to aggressively shroom forward and try and develop any sort of breakaway from that, as we do see the start of the race to be a little bit scrappy. Lara opting to play patient with her shrooms. Whether that works out for her or not will be seen, as she is in 3rd place at the moment, contesting for the drafts. Super in 1st for Spain at the moment, also has shrooms. However, looks to be a bit wherever Lara's support was in for, just as magically disappeared, as Lara still able to hold down in 1st with the triple shrooms. However, it looks to be a lot of Spain behind her, and Lara doesn't even have any sort of real defense. The shrooms are nice, because if she does get hit by an item, she is able to use those immediately to just go back up to full speed. However, you'd want a little bit more to try and secure your spot, and ensuring that Spain players aren't able to catch up with you if you do get hit by the items.
Seems Lara is getting outcoined like hell by Super here, taking the similar lines, but on this same place here, there was a coin shell that was very disastrous for Fall, who was in 3rd with Lara. But at the moment, Super could have something behind this that could try to kill Lara with nothing at the moment in hand. Bumped Super off. Nope, that was a very unrealistic bump. As her run comes out, it is going to hit Lara. Does she opt to use this room? She has a feather up behind it. She can take the ending cut with this, which is not the best, but she's going to have to use this. Unless 3rd has triple shrooms, which would be triple reds. They don't, though, so at the moment, it's not looking too good for Brazil. It's 2... Oh, not 2. Never mind. It's very bad at the moment. It's top 3 for Spain.
Yeah, Spain clutching up again, able to get the backs off. Hits both of the Brazil players with one singular end, Mario Kart lag, ladies and gentlemen. Them not even having shrooms in top 3 isn't really going to even matter too much. The breakaway is too strong. Caesar has shroom anyways for security. Even if they weren't going to shroom in the cut, Brazil wouldn't have been able to catch up with them, as it is top 3 on lock for Spain.
Yeah,
They do have a couple spots in the back. However, it's not going to matter too much when they have top 4, 7, 12. Oh, it's dire straits.
Yep, it's just as you said. Maybe they can try and avoid the top 6 fridge at this point, but it's about a 74-point lead for Spain. In a realistic sense, you have 9 races to come back from this, but based off what happened last war, it's not looking too hot for Brazil.
This history is just repeating themselves. I think Spain, they're just playing really well this match. They've came into this match on form, and when Spain are on form, they're a very tough team to try and knock down. Even has caused issues for some of the teams in the top 8 to deal with. So Brazil are just going to try and clutch at straws, try and get any answer that they can. We see Koopa Troopa Beach again coming out early. We saw this work for Spain as their track pick last time. Did manage to result in something good for them, as you would have expected Brazil to maybe favor them in having a lot of mids and pulling shrooms. However, did just work out for Spain. So all eyes on Brazil to see whether this can be the track to swing them back into it. However, as you said, Spain very good at letting the lead pile on. So it's a ticking time bomb for Brazil, and if they're not able to do anything, Spain is just going to explode with a massive differential.
At the moment, it's 2-4 Brazil. They have 3-4 now. Brazil have triple shrooms in 4. Hammers comes out, just misses Lara. Caesar tries to go for the slow red, I think. He might have to throw that swing up. Lara's going off the shroom. Does take the cut with it, and Hondro is in first. Gonna dodge the blue. He does have 2 shrooms in first, so it is really good for him. He's not gonna get Lara in the blue explosion, unfortunately for him. The bomb could do some damage if Lara opts to throw anywhere, but she's a huge pack split. Hondro might catch last at this point, looking at the mini-map. Lara going for the back bomb, trying to kill a Cadex if she can. And it's not looking too hot for Brazil. They need to start coming back up now if they're in the back. Only Lara up there, pulling only bombs from that set.
There's too big of a pack split for Lara to even really do anything. She's kind of just fighting by herself at the moment with all the Spain players around her, all the green shells flying as they go into the final lap. One, unfortunately, connecting. It's top 3 again for Spain. We've seen them hold on to this. Even with Edu going up with Golden, it's not going to mean too much unless the Reds are able to go for Ivanchu, which they do. The pack looking really messy at the moment. Spain at least confirming first, but it looks to be a lot of Brazil bottom spots. Lara does manage to finish in 8th place. However, Brazil just not being able to do much this war, as it's a top 5-9 for Spain. They're now back top 6 in Indivs overall. This is... You've got to feel for Brazil. They've been in so many tough situations this World Cup, going into 2 of their matches in the group stage tied and unfortunately losing them. Just to then prove themselves and make it through the group, just to then go up against absolute mammoths in this competition. Being Spain, you really got to feel for them.
No, hold on. It's not over yet. KSI reference, but no, it's not over yet. As we do see Brazil go for Peach Stadium, this track theoretically worked. I think this was their best track last war, if I'm not wrong. We do see DK Spaceport being picked. I am very happy. I do hope we see that, and they do get a gaining race. If they do, this will be my favorite moment of the entire bracket stage, but unfortunately, it is Peach Stadium, so I cannot see that.
Peach Stadium, just back to the gambling tracks. Brazil kind of just need to work on seeing if any of the luck is able to go in their favor, as Exiting the first GP, they are down by 108 points. Brazil just doing the absolute best that they can. They have had a lot of DC issues as well, but even still, Brazil just not able to do much across these two sets. Lara doing her best to hold down some front spots, able to get the edge tricks, able to try and bully out some of the Spain players with nanas, as Brazil look to be in a bit of a favorable position. Top 2 with shrooms. Lara's going to have to hold on to hers, but the bomb drop from out of nowhere, killing at least one of the Spain players. They are now still top 2, holding on to whatever they can. However, one of the Spain players is going to be shrooming up with the top 2. Lara with the triple greens, though, gonna put Ivan Chu under a lot of pressure as he only has shrooms to deal with this. Lara just playing grief. I really like this idea from her. However, unfortunately, Spain coming out with the Mega to squish her. But Lara's done pretty much all she really could do to try and help first place get any sort of break for them. However, Spain are back into 3. If they pull the correct items, they will be able to take out first and reclaim it, as to the dismay of Lara, who's just been doing her best. Everybody slowing down at that final set. Makes you wonder if Shock is in play. Spain isn't built at the moment. Brazil player in last, all the way in the back. Can't tell whether or not that is a DC, as Cesar does go up with his bill all the way up to 7th place. However, is going to opt to slow down to try and pull shrooms for the cut. Maybe even try and pull another power item here to help them push back up. Does pull a golden. It's not too strong on this part of the track, so maybe going to try and pull something else at this double. Golden triple shrooms again. Still on a section with a lot of boost panels. After you leave this ramp, this is when the shrooms kind of become useful. But Cesar was more hoping for the likes of a Mega to try and squish all these Brazil players ahead of him. Gets redded by Newt. Not able to do much with greens, though. Is able to kill Newt. Revenge kill for the red. Trying to get the draft off of Rick. Not able to do so. The bumps from the Brazil players managing to keep Cesar in the back, as he does manage to claw out 8th. But it's still not good enough for Brazil. Bottom 3 for them. Spain top 2, 4, 5, 8, 9. Spain just piling pressure after pressure. Brazil as well. There was a double DC from their end. It's really unfortunate, the fact that Brazil have had DCs in this match. It was tough for them to even try and keep up with the likes of Spain. The DCs have just made it 10 times harder as lip picks and for both DCing from the Brazil. And Brazil are just going to have to try and do whatever they can at the moment to hold on to this. However, that is not to discredit Brazil's World Cup campaign thus far, even though they are probably getting knocked out with how much pressure Spain is just applying onto them at the moment. They did really well to be one of only 2 teams from the play-in stage originally to make it all the way here. Not expected to even make it in the knockout stage. Was expected to get knocked out of the groups. So despite their best efforts, I'd still say Brazil have had a really strong campaign. It's just unfortunate for teams in these lower seeds at the start of the round of 16 having to go up against the absolute Goliaths that are the top 8 teams. All of the top 8 are in this round of 16, and they are paired up against the top 2 teams from each of the groups respectfully. So Brazil just going to have to do whatever they can to try and hold on to making this war as close as possible, as we are on DK Pass. This is a track that definitely favors the shroom cuts a lot. So it's going to be interesting to see whether Cesar is able to pull anything. Pulls Mega triple shrooms. Would have preferred that to be the other way around, so that way they could hold dodge in pocket. Looks to be Spain in first at the moment from the minimap. Couples Brazil players managing to take cut as they reclaim the tops. However, no pressure for Spain as they keep pushing to fight and break the top spots that Brazil have just gained. They've done so this entire set. It's now just a case of whether Caesar's able to do anything. Shrooms are very powerful, but getting a really bad wall cut and connecting onto the rail, forced to burn all the shrooms. But it doesn't matter. He just pulls more anyways. The 6th place box absolutely coming in clutch. Accidentally getting hit by the fire, the ice even from the Brazil player that was thrown. As the front does look to be very scrappy at the moment. You see both Brazil and Spain trying to fight for top spots at the moment. Lara pulling triple greens near her mates, just having to get rid of that ASAP. Brazil able to take the wall cut, unlike Spain. However, Spain now in top 4 just miraculously when Brazil thought they had an inkling of hope to try and break into this race. It is now Spain top 5. Lara's going to have to try it off to see whether holding the shrooms is worth it. She sees Caesar open for the kill. Only kill that she's going to be able to get. The ghost, if there is a shock, it's huge. However, has to spam the fire forward. Her teammate is ahead of her. It's top 4 at least for Spain. They were able to salvage 5th, but it's too many bottom spots for Brazil at the moment. Yeah. Top 3, 5, 6, 9 for Brazil. Once again, the top 6 overall in Indivs breaking away 3 of the Spanish players on 48 points. Edu being the only player even close on 40 points at the moment. There's a lot that Brazil has got to ask for, but in situations like this where a team is just outclassing you, it's really hard to try and find motivation or morale just from the fact that the teams are on 2 completely different levels. And that's not to the discredit of Brazil. Just a lot of these Spain players have been acquainted with the top divisions for a long time now. Brazil, they've had a couple players up there in high div. However, it's just nowhere near to the talent that Spain has brought into this World Cup with their roster. So we see a lot of free tracks going on at the moment. Don't know who this Whistle Stop Summit pick was from, as I think every team has now just said, you know what, let's pick free tracks. Let's just go out and have a little bit of fun with it. However, this is going to probably favor the spots of 4, 5, and 6, which I believe 4, 5 is held by Spain. So regardless, top 3 for Spain is going to have to opt to go around the cut, as we do see Lara also go around the cut as well. She pulls triple shrooms. Whether she's able to break into the front or not is a different story. Able to get the draft off the teammate, making sure that they do not bump each other off. Lara doing her best to crank out the SMT to get her over the grab. Has to take it a bit more wide to make sure that she doesn't fail. Spain, whilst not having shrooms, is in top 2 at the moment. Whistle Stop very strong with all the nisks that they can take, but one of the Spain players failing. Brazil now in 2-3. However, Brazil are going to want some form of aggressive items to catch up and try and take out the player in first, as the player in second does pull triple greens, might be able to do something.
Hello everyone, I am back, but yes, we are into the middle of Whistle Stop. Apologies, I had a little technical issue as Cesar pulls triple reds for the 10th time this war, as the red takes its time to land into Lara. But the first is just absolutely gone as Cesar tries to target Lara over the cut and make it so that you can't take that nisk. It is faster to go for the nisk than shooting around it, so it's a really good play from Cesar. Might try and opt to back this red on Lara. He does have the bomb in pocket. There's a little spoiler we'll be seeing soon, do not worry. But the shock does come out. It was a really good shock, you could argue, I guess, for Cesar, getting a lot of that momentum. But Paul is in second with shrooms. You could call that a Brazil shock, I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, no, don't know whether the shock was favorable for Brazil or Spain for that matter, because Cesar getting the launch. However, the Brazil player able to come up with the triple shrooms. The red going to be skipping Cesar as he fails the fast strat in getting the nisk. However, it doesn't matter too much as the Brazil player that was up there has fallen back into the pack. Top 2 gone for Spain. However, maybe some sort of mid-pack salvage for Brazil. Nothing too crazy. It's still top 2, 4-7 for Spain. However, 3, 5, 6, 8, 9 for Brazil gives them at least a little bit to work with.
I mean, yeah, this war is almost confirmed over. You could say it's theoretically confirmed over. Brazil's probably just having fun. You got to the round of 16 in the World Cup. Really, really impressive just by itself. You got here from the playing stage. You got to play the most out of any team, tied with Austria probably. So, the top teams have not played this much, as much as Brazil. They will be playing more. The ones that qualify as England will be seeing Spain very soon, confirmed to be their matchup in the quarterfinals, as we do see Toad Factory being picked once again by Brazil.
Yeah, Spain versus England, sure to be a very good match. England earlier today, close to getting knocked out by Australia. Australia started off with some absolute heat, just hammering down on England, but England able to persevere, get the reverse sweep on them, make it so that way they made it through to the quarterfinals 2-1. So a lot for both teams going forward. Spain admittedly getting the slightly easier path, finishing higher than England in the group stage, meaning that England getting last meant that they were going to be playing one of the higher seeds from the group stage, which ended up being Australia. Australia, a lot of people's dark horses just with how stacked their roster was, but it'll be interesting to see how that match plays out when it gets scheduled. You will be hearing about it first in the World Cup Discord. However, we've yabbered on a bit too much about other stuff that's going on. It's Toad's Factory at the moment with Caesar with the triple greens in fifth. It looks to be a couple Brazil players in the front. However, a lot of Spain players trailing behind them. Caesar opting to play aggressive with the greens, making sure not to hit out his teammates. The Nabbits are the Brazil players, so they're doing their best to try and dodge whatever they can, as it looks to be a very messy scramble in this front of the back.
Really good burst pull from Caesar. This Kamek could do a lot of damage if it's a certain boom boom. It is charging shocks, very tight one there. That's a really, really good one. But Lara with the triple reds here being pulled on Caesar. Misses the boost, does not get Handro for it, unfortunately, but it will get Caesar and Handro. So it's going to be first, I think, for Brazil. No, nearly first. Top 2, actually, for Brazil. It's triple greens, 2 sets of triple greens behind Brazil. It's not looking too good, but it's such a tight pack that a shock could be the ender here. Blue does come. Really good blue there for Brazil, as they're currently 2-3, but Spain is in 1 as he disappears. It's chaos in the pack right now. And Caesar does in 1. Oh my word.
Yeah, that being a Spain shock, another one of the players coming up in Mega. Spain pretty much just locking onto the win of this race at the moment. Nothing that Brazil is able to do about the fact that he was able to pull triple shrooms and get them into first. Brazil just going to do whatever they can to salvage at the moment, as it's at least a top 2 for Spain. Even when races look like they are going in Brazil's favor, Spain is just able to pull something and get themselves right back in it. Top 4, 7, 12 from Spain. Loads of DCs left, right, and center as well from the Brazil side. Very hard for our stream host to keep track of scores. Shout out Astro for doing the best of a job that they can, but even still, scores or not, just looking at the results, every race in, race out, Spain ridiculously dominant this entire war.
Yeah, at the moment, we should blame the DCs for this loss, I would say, but Brazil losing by 202. I would blame the DCs if I were them. I'd say every single time they DC, that was a race they could have fridged. But obviously, I digress. We're gonna see Rainbow Road or RMC again. Picked by Brazil. They do want this misery to last longer. They have picked it both matches, so props to them. Hopefully, they do get a gaining race here. Maybe their first gaining race of the war. I've not been keeping track if they've gotten a gaining race yet, though.
I mean, Brazil's just been getting too many top twos, top threes for them to even try and get any sort of gaining race. Even the races where Brazil have gotten first, it has always ended up with a lot of their players in the bottom spots as well. So even in trying to make races like that work, Spain have just had the difference through and through. Just had this match in a chokehold, pretty much. So whether Rainbow Road is actually going to be able to work out this time for Brazil, as it has been one of their stronger tracks throughout the entire tournament, is yet to be seen. The red shell actually connecting on Caesar from mute, and it is now top 2 for Brazil. However, going into lap 2, there's a lot of strong cuts that you can do with shrooms, and of course, the Brazil players have them in the front. So if Spain are able to pull onto any sort of golden, any sort of shrooms, maybe even Mega or Bill, they're able just to get right back up into the top spots.
Well, it's looking pretty decent for Brazil, but yeah, as you said, if they do have shrooms, it's kind of wraps for their lead. Lara clipping something that we did not catch, apparently. And AKX is in second with shrooms, I presume. It looks like to be very high up there. At the moment, it's a lot of Spain behind Lara. There is Fa behind her in third. I think as a Spain player, goldening up, there's a shock happening. I think Handro and Sambi both dodge. I'm not sure about Handro, but Sambi definitely dodges, which is a huge shock for Spain, and it's not that good for Brazil.
Yeah, no, just all the momentum that Lara had running in the front taken away immediately as Spain now opts to get a break in top 2. Lara able to keep up with some of the Spain players that have passed in 5th. Caesar just being able to actually connect the greens compared to the rank not connecting from Lara, and now Spain just have a breakaway developing, looking to be at least top 4 going into section 3. However, this is Rainbow Road. There's always the chance of the second shock. Whether Brazil is able to do anything with a second shock, though, if they pull it, is a different story, but there still is some decent time for catch-up.
Yeah, this pull is really good from Lara. Can just get up into the front right away, or maybe opt to hold it for a while. But obviously, as we know, yeah, opting to use it would be very good here because the time on the glider spent if you just don't shroom or don't mega or don't even bill, it will be a huge time loss. So going up into around 4th or 5th here, 4th with a golden, which is really good. Opting to use it right away. Ivan Chu might try and get Lara here as she tries to just dodge that green shell just barely, and she's gonna try and chase down Savi, who was formerly gone one, trying to get this second place red pull. He does get it, and then try and get him on the glider. Unless he has defense, which he does. But this shroom is going to give her a lot of time saved on him.
I mean, a bit of a risky play knowing that it was a lot of Spain behind her. However, Edu managing to pull up in 3rd place, meaning that she was able to pull the red a bit more risk-free than you would have expected. Sambi still in 1st for the time being. Lara in 2nd. Brazil occupying a couple of the mid spots. However, Lara is going to have to just do her best with the items that the game gives her to try and get anything on Sanvi. Nanas is going to be hard to work with, try and get a snipe. However, it still looks to be 2-3 for Brazil. Whether they're able to break into 1st and swing things around is a different story. As you can only imagine, it's a lot of Spain trailing behind them.
Oh, triple reds coming onto Lara. She's going to be having a very tough time trying to take the cut seriously here. And the red, she tries to back it onto the red that was hitting her, and I think that's quadruple reds behind her. Now it goes for the baby Luigi. I think that's Eru. It does not hit Eru as they're still 2-3. Really good for Brazil. They could get a decent race here. Truman 3rd is very good. 4th is a Spain player with a golden, I think. And I think they're holding 2-3. Now he has a Bill in 4th. It's going to run out very fast, though. He does have triple shrooms behind it, so let's save a lot of time on the glider. It is going to be 2-3 for Brazil. Not a bad salvage from them.
Was able to at least hold on to the 2-3. Caesar, as we see, wrapping up, finishing in the mid pack at the moment. However, you do see a lot of Brazil around. Ends up falling to 9th. A lot of power items being used on the glider to catch up. 2, 3, 5, 6, 8, 12.
Could be
finally some signs of life for Brazil. Unfortunately, getting the last, meaning that this race isn't as good as it could have been.
What was it, +2?
But
yeah,
I don't know math well enough to do it off the top of my head to know whether that was a gaining race for them or not. But
that was a gaining race, +2. I just did the math in my head.
Happy days. They are able to get something. Rainbow Road finally working out for them. Brazil can at least go home saying that they got at least one race over Spain, and it was on the track that has been working for them the absolute most this war. However, it's a small victory that they can take away from this, which is all Brazil really wants at the moment. It's impossible for them to get back into this. As we do go to Sky High Sunday now, the Brazil track pick, going to see if they can get any more momentum from the spots that they just got. However, as we were saying earlier at the start of the previous war, this is really going to benefit whoever is able to shroom up first. It was able to be Brazil last time. Spain just thwarted their top present as best as they could. However, it does seem to be Brazil again, able to pull a lot of shrooms and break into the front, as it looks to be at least top 2-4. Spain contesting, as they do have greens next to Lara. Lara opting to play safe, just take the middle path with the shrooms that she has. And if Lara pulls the correct items to try and defend her teammates, there could be a breakaway, but unfortunate Red skipping her, going for her teammate, as it's now only a top 2 for Brazil. Edu very volatile to the triple reds behind, and Lara read it off the track. So unfortunate.
Yeah, Brazil are getting unlucky with these triple reds. I'm seeing too many triple reds for my liking from Spain right now. Very unfortunate. Yeah, this is just brutal. But Spain are also doing an amazing job at the moment, just clearing out Brazil. They're still in 1. They're barely holding 1. A coin block from second. He's going to catch up to first a lot because of that. And we see Ivan Shu dying to nothing. These hammers could do a lot of damage as well. It's in hand at the moment for Cesar. Gonna try and get Edu with it here. He does get Edu, and it's top 3, I think, right now, Spain. He does get his teammate with him as well, and the blue comes out. It's pandemonium right now on Sky Sunday. So, and
I'm so scrappy. Going into this, you don't know which team has it.
Yeah.
Ivan Shu dodging the blue, as you said. Spain only top 2. Don't know if Ivan Shu has another shroom to take the cut, as Actix does go for the golden cut. 4 close behind him. Looks to be 3-4 for Brazil, turned into 2-3 now, as they try and take out whoever they can in the first. Rick holding reds, meaning that Caesar's red attempt is going to fall for naught. There's a lot of items being thrown around. Caesar's going to have to hope for something aggressive. The triple greens could kill Rick right here, right now, if able to get the connecting shot. Not able to, and gets trailed on the line.
He loses spots for that. Oh my, he lost like 5 spots for that. Wow. A lot of spots lost. What a great trail by Rick. I think it was a 2, 3, 6, 7, 10, 11. I don't think it's a gaining race, I'm unfortunately, but that's a really good race from Spain, as they do keep the top presence there. It's a -4 for Spain, for Brazil.
I mean, just getting these races way too late into this war. If they were able to get the +2 and the -4 more closer to the beginning of the war, Brazil might have been able to actually do something and cause a little bit of pressure for Spain. However, Spain just chokehold on this war from the very beginning. It's taken Spain this long to crumble in actually getting any tight races between Brazil. Brazil have only gotten 1 out of the current 21 races that have been played so far. 22 races, actually. Any sort of gaining race, they've only gotten 1. As we go to Warrior Stadium, Brazil just going to do their best to hold on to any sort of momentum that they get from the last 2 races, and see if they can make this win or make the Spain win not look as good as it has been on the track.
Yeah, I try to get like a double fridge here, real quick. Hopefully on R-dubs and on the race after it. Hopefully one of the tracks that I like most, but I don't need to mention it. I think I mentioned it a lot already this cast, but at the moment it's looking really good for Cesar, as he opts to use his shrooms to try and get more. Really good play from him there. Triple Nanas is amazing. Fa's definitely going to avoid the rail. But MLM is right behind him. He's probably going to go for the... He does not. I think he will... No, he will not. Spain player is right behind him, so he will not trap the Valor, and he has triple shrooms in 1. He will be gone after this.
Yeah, no ghost in sight either, meaning that Cesar is able to hold onto these shrooms. It looks to be top 2 at least for Spain at the moment. There is one Brazil player trying to keep up, but looking at this pack, you see it just break away ever so slowly in Spain's favor. Brazil is 3-4, however, Spain having top 2. If whoever is in front with Cesar is able to kill the Brazil player next to them, will be able to provide such huge support, as we do see a good bit of Brazil in the mid pack. Lara with a shroom in 6 has to hold this, because going around this ending cut does lose so much time compared to not taking it and trying to gamble with a better box. She does hold Horn, not able to do anything with it, as a lot of Spain is now just opting to catch up. They are just allowing Brazil to have bottom 2. Means that they do have full odds for the shock, but it's Spain pretty much gone in this top 5 at the moment. Only one Spain player in the back, probably just holding onto a dodge to try and make sure that if shock does come, they are able to dodge. But this is just Spain firing on all fronts at the moment. Lara's slowing down.
Is there a shock in play? Unless she's... Because it's lap 3, I would be really surprised. There's a shock in play. Going behind the shock to try and dodge it. I don't think that's maybe a little bit too late, as I think it's still top 5 Spain.
Yeah, way too late with Lara trying to drop back. I respect the play, but I think you kind of just have to bite the bullet and sacrifice the top spot that you're going to get. Spain pretty much top 5 confirmed. They were only able to keep Super down in 9th place. As we go on to one race left, and once again, Spain are unironically in a seat where if they all get the correct spots that they need, they could all score 100 again.
Yeah, if I was Brazil, I would just try and not make this look worse than the last match, even though it's already really bad in of itself. At the moment, it's looking pretty rough. It's about 220 lead for Spain, so I think it's actually impossible to be as bad as last match. So they've gotten that far, so they've gotten closer. I can say that's an achievement. Hopefully they pick RMC and end this misery, or they go Moon Meadows, as they are clicking on it. But yeah, right now Brazil, they're gonna have some fun with it. Not opting to switch combos as Australia did against England in their last match, but yeah, Dry Bones Burnout to end it off, and Acorn Heights. Unfortunately, we are going to be playing a real track. Very sad, but
no intermissions here today.
No intermissions.
We do see Burnout, the final pick of this war. Just want to clue you in really quickly on another match that is going on, being streamed over on Twitch, the Mario Kart Central Twitch. Not Spain, that's currently this match. Germany versus Ireland at the moment. They're going into their last race. Ireland up by 12, meaning that they could take the first set, causing a big upset over in that match. Only time will tell when we do advise you guys to go over after watching this match to see how that pans out and how things are going to be looking going into match 2 there. However, we are on Dry Bones Burnout here, the final race of the 2-set war. I just want to say very quickly, congratulations to Spain being able to take this home. Commiserations to Brazil, done what they can. However, not enough to see them go through to the quarterfinals. However, successful campaign regardless. Playing the second most matches in the tournament, only beaten out by Austria, which is one because Brazil's playing group only had 3 teams to accommodate all the teams that had signed up for this World Cup.
Yeah, at the moment, it's a really good performance from Brazil. Already mentioned it. They've gone through all the stages. I'd say that's the most exhilarating part. You know, you were in the plains, you were seated lower, you got into groups. You could already be happy with groups. You know, that's what my team was happy with. We got into the groups, but they took a step further and they went into the bracket stages. It was a huge upset and a huge dark horse attempt from Brazil, as they do go into this last race against Spain. Maybe getting an even bigger gaming race, get their second one of the war. But at the moment, it doesn't look too bad for them, as they are everything behind 1. So it's about 2 through 5. Not bad at all.
First is a massive breakaway, though. They're probably just going to be playing to see whether they can hold on to their mid spots. Whether there is a shock is yet to be seen. Lara in a really good seat at the moment with 2 shrooms means that if she fails one of the 2 lava cuts, she can use one for security. More commonly, the first lava cut that we see a lot of players try and trick over with the clip of the road. She's opting to play it safe, doesn't go for the fancy cut, respect the play, shrooms into the lava, manages to hold third. A shock does come in. Brazil doing well to hold 2, 3, 4, 5. A lot of Spain in the back as well. Caesar getting target. A lot of Spain getting target shot.
This is a great race for Brazil.
Huge race. It's 2 through 7 for Brazil.
Okay, don't spoil it.
Oh wow. we could figure from the fact that pretty much everyone from Spain other than first got target shocked in the lava, but huge scenes for Brazil, able to clutch out something at least from that, a big gaining race for them, able to go home and say that they were able to keep some of the races close, but massive congrats to Spain, who will be going up against England in the quarter-finals of the Mario Kart World Cup.
That is a blockbuster matchup coming up. And we have got news that Ireland have beaten Germany in Game 1. That is an underdog story right there, same as Australia. They're going to be going into Game 2 very soon over Twitch, but what a performance by Spain. They just showed that they are definitely favorites. Brazil is a really good team, so beating them by a lot, very handedly, is not something to scoff at, honestly. So very good performance. And Brazil getting that last race, I would be very happy if I were them. I think the mood is very nice.
Yeah, for sure. There is still a lot of matches going on today. Obviously, over on Twitch, we have Germany versus Ireland at the moment. Highly advised that you guys go over there and watch. Will Ireland be able to destroy Germany's dreams, one of the top 8 teams early on, and cause a dark horse story as they, whichever one between Germany and Ireland win, go up against France in the quarterfinals? Or is Germany going to be able to resolve what happened match 1 and turn it into a reverse sweep? That is yet to be seen. However, we also have one other match going on today at 2 a.m. UK, 9 p.m. EST. You have Canada versus Asia. That should be another close match and another great one for everybody to keep their eyes on. But for now, it's been myself, it's been Manny, it's been Astro as your stream host, commentating over Spain versus Brazil. Thank you all very much for watching. We still have a lot of matches to go through, not only today, but this weekend. So stay tuned.